Today, We Come From the Future is all about swordplay. We're going to talk about the best sword fights in film, and we're going to get advice on why all those fights are fake. And we're going to set up our own sword fights, first with a long sword and then with a lightsaber. All this and more is coming up on this episode of We Come From the Future. This episode of We Come From the Future is brought to you by Netflix. Hello, and welcome to We Come From the Future, the show where we spill a whole lot of future all over the floor and then throw some over our left shoulder at you.
Today our episode is all about swords and sorcery, only without the sorcery.
So, just swords.
If you have a sword, you don't need sorcery.
So true.
Really, that should be enough. Most of what any of us know about sword fighting, we know through the movies. It may be wrong, but at least it looks cool. We'll start off by looking at the best sword fights in the movies.
So I have to say my very favorite sword fights are all in the first Highlander movie because first of all, they're so unrealistic, but there's like the lightning and the head chopping and like they fight in these like abandoned disco apocalypse warehouses and it's just great. And then also another one of my favorites is when Éowyn slays the Nazgul in the final Lord of the Rings movie and she just jams the shit out of him, just kills him like so cool. And anyway, so that's kind of what I like about sword fights, I guess, is the jamming and the killing.
See, I like more the banter, so I'm more a Princess Bride, Inigo Montoya fights Dread Pirate Wesley.
Yeah, no, that's a great one.
Where they're like, I admit it, you're better than I am. Then why are you smiling? Because I am not left-handed. Switch to the right, and I'm like,
I am not left-handed either.
Yes! That was great. That was great. The second one I like was the mismatched, like, rapier versus broadsword thing in Rob Roy. Or at the end, and I don't care if I'm spoiling it, 15-year-old movie, he just, like, grabs the blade. It's like, chop you in half!
And that's a good kill. That's
yes,
a very, very
that's
good
a good kill.
The movie should just ended there. None of this going off to the hills and all that crap. No, that was a perfect kill.
Yeah. But enough about movies. Let's show how to get a real sword fight going.
Sword fights are the staple of any good fantasy or swashbuckling flick like Lord of the Rings or Pirates of the Caribbean. But how realistic are those choreographed routines? Here to help us break down the myth of the sword fight is our own Frank Knight. He's an editor here at We Come From the Future and a sword fight enthusiast who's brought his broadsword in for demonstration. So what is your biggest beef with how sword fights are depicted in film? Like, what's the most unrealistic part, you think?
I think the biggest issue is the thing that everybody does, block. There we go. So, because television and movies have taught you, whenever you block a sword like this, you block with your edge to my edge.
Yeah, because that's what's awesome, right?
Yeah, no, that's what breaks your sword. If you strike edge to edge with a sword like this, everybody's going to end up with big nicks and grooves in the blade, and everybody's going to end up with saws instead of swords.
And also, what about how people hold swords? Because I feel like there's a lot of sort of shoom like that. Is that realistic?
It has a little basis, but mostly the thing is, in films, everybody's holding their swords all out here. They're always clashing like in the middle, and they're just kind of like tapping swords around, especially in like even fencing. Fencing, you can't use your left hand. You have to just have one hand. But in actual medieval combat back in the day, they would have used their left hand to bat away swords, or they would have actually grabbed their own sword and done
so
what's
you
called...
can actually grab this blade right here. Like I am
even
grabbing this blade.
Even if you don't have any armor, this section right here is flat, so it's not sharp. And then if you were actually a knight in full armor, you can just grab the whole blade. Because unlike movies, this isn't a lightsaber. It's not going to magically cut through anything it touches. If you pull sharply like a knife, you might cut something. But pushing straight against the blade doesn't cause you to cut anything. So people do what's called calf sorting, and you would grab the blade. So now your blade, usually your blade is bendy and flexy, and this means it won't shatter. But when you half sword, now it's a lot sturdier, so you can actually push through and stab through like plate armor and stuff. There's a movie that was available on Netflix, I think it might be down now, it's called Reclaiming the Blade, and it's a little documentary done by a lot of the people from Lord of the Rings into kind of the mythicism of the sword and how it actually worked, and there's a lot of wonderful information and resources there.
All right, thanks so much for coming in and showing us your sword.
Anytime, Emily. Have fun. I'm out of here.
All right, well, thanks, Frank, for this sword, and get back into the editing bay. It's San Diego Comic-Con this week, and if you're missing out on standing in line and sweating, don't worry. You can experience some of the fun that we are, like the Comic-Con sing-along to Buffy the Vampire Slayer's Once More with Feeling episode. Just sing along at home. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is one of the many TV shows and movies you can find on Netflix. And since Netflix streams TV shows and movies directly to your home, you don't even have to leave the house to watch it. How shiny is that? Watch as many movies as you want, anytime you want, cancel anytime. For a limited time, get a free 30-day trial membership. Go to netflix.com/future and sign up now. And for our viewers in the UK and Ireland, you can get the same deal with netflix.co.uk/future and netflix.ie/future. Be sure to use this URL so that they know we sent you. And have fun not being at Comic-Con and not dealing with the sweat and lines.
We've seen the lies about sword fighting, and we've seen the truth. I prefer the lies, so we're going to bring in an expert in lightsaber fighting to show us how to fake a cool lightsaber fight. Please welcome Alan Block. Alan, how did you get your expertise? Yoda?
Ooh, gosh, I wish. But I did learn from an excellent instructor named Master Novastar. He actually is a fencing instructor, martial artist, stage fight choreographer, and he's lightsaber enthusiast, really into Star Wars, yeah. So he's been doing this for about 6-7 years. He's released DVDs, and he's been instructing people for quite a while, actually. So yeah, a lightsaber, the way that you're kind of using is like a lever. You then have your trailing hand on the grip behind it. And then when you're striking the pose, what you want to do is you want to have the blade angled to about the middle of your opponent or partner's face. Just right there. So that's a typical sort of,
Go for the face.
Go for the face. You don't want to have it too up because, like in martial arts, if you have it up, then a person can easily walk forward and smack you like that. So you want to have them at this sort of distance. As well, and I'll switch grips. You want to have about between your elbow and your rib cage about 2 fists, like so. You want to have your, so if you're right-handed, you want to have your right foot forward. Yeah, you want to have your legs slightly bent. Now we're in our basic stance. So I'll teach you some of the targeting. There's basically 6 targets that we go for, and these targets, are somewhat similar to what you find in, martial arts. But the techniques that we do to strike them are for choreography. This is lower left, lower right, upper left, and then you're going to be coming in for your headshots on 5 and 6. So yeah, I won't be striking you this time. So now that you've learned the basic strikes and the basic defenses, you can then annotate them with like other stuff like spins and jumps. So if I wanted to do, let's say, you're going to defend a 3. So you remember how to defend a 3. It's going to be on that side. Okay, so I'm going to do a spin jump attack 3. You ready? There you go. Yeah.
Can we do like a 3-move routine?
Sure.
All right.
Well, how about a 4-move routine?
All right.
All right, so we call this one the box sequence.
Okay.
It's basically 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
And you just go back and forth. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're going to attack me 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
All right, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then you attack me 1, so this side. There you go. 2, 3, and 4. And I go 1. You can make little noises too. 3 and 4. Oh, you got it. And you can just go back and forth really, really fast. It looks really cool.
One could.
Yeah.
But that is the cool sequence to do.
Yes.
And
That's
maybe
cool
like
sequence.
a spin at the end.
And then it spin at the end. Shh. Yeah. Or
All
you can
right.
do the Obi Annie, which is the sort of the behind the back thing, and.
We'll save that for next time.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alan, for letting me fight like a Jedi. If you would like to learn as well and check out Alan's work, go to goldengateknights.com, and may the Force be with you.
Well, that's all of the sword fighting there is for this week's episode of We Come From the Future. But there's plenty of back episodes that you can watch. You can find us on iTunes by searching for IO9.
And you can subscribe to us right here on YouTube. And as always, you can find us at revision3.com.
I'm Annalee Newitz.
And I'm Esther Inglis Arkell. And we'll see you next week in the future.